Oh, wow, this is a, that is pretty heavy. That's way heavier than I thought.
Yeah.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about how rare is a 135-pound overhead press. So according to Google, right here, it's generally considered rare, right? You're pretty much you're in the intermediate to advanced category, right? Pretty much breaching on the advanced category, which makes sense, right? I bench pressed 385 and I was like expecting me to hit 225. I get under 135 and I'm like, oh, this is heavier than I thought it was, right? So obviously a lot of technique comes into play, but overhead press for the most part is the true testament of upper body strength. Obviously with like core stability and like leg stability, right? People were like, oh, bench press shows your upper body strength. No, bro. Get under that bar and see if you can press it over your head. That's how you know if someone's like strong. Like upper limb strength is insane, right? Obviously bench press is still a very good a standard to see where you hold or where you stand as someone with upper body strength, but overhead press takes the cake by far. Honestly, I do plan on somehow structuring this into my program because going into overhead press, I noticed a lot of weaknesses, right? Obviously, I'm shaking a lot more than I thought I was. Core stability could be worked on, shoulder tweaks, all right? Because again, overhead press works pretty much your whole delt, your anterior delt, your lateral delt, and then your rear delt, right? A lot of delt activation, pretty much the whole delt activation. And so if you're like overhead pressing 135 just to begin with, your potential is probably insane, especially if you could bench a lot more. Like if you're benching like about 375, right, 365, you should be at least a 185 overhead press, I'd say, which obviously like ranks you even farther. Like if 135 is you on the brink of being advanced, 185 is just straight up advanced, right? But again, we're talking about 135 today. Some people, it takes years to get to 135, right? 135 is just like, oh, dude, like you got to work your way up. I remember I was warming up with 25 pounds on each, and I was like, okay, so this is a movement I'm not familiar with. This is a movement that I need to get used to. And again, overhead press is obviously crazy strength, but it's also technique. And if you don't get the technique down, then obviously this exercise is going to be a lot harder than usual, right? Or a lot harder than it needs to be. Again, 135 when I was under the bar, I could have done about 3 to 4 reps, but that's me pushing it. I was doing 2 and I said, okay, I don't want to tire myself out if I want to attempt 225 today, right? So 135 overhead press, that it gives me a lot more respect for strong men because obviously you have to be strong to do this type of thing, right? Because like my go-tos for my subscribers who watch me, appreciate you guys. They know I just do deadlift and bench press. I am messing with squats. You guys will see squat videos very soon. I'm just trying to get to a more respectable number, but yeah, like those are the lifts I work with, and so getting under that bar and trying to press it over my head was a different type of feeling, right? It's not something I'm accustomed to, not something I'm used to, right? You can only brute strength stuff for so long, right? And I obviously didn't have the strength, I didn't have the technique, and 135 was a challenge for me, right? So that puts in perspective, like again, who's someone who could bench 385, like, okay, so 135 is, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a 135 on bench, obviously, like a pressing movement. You're getting this over your head, right? You're activating a lot of you're activating some traps, some upper back, and again, stabilizing core, legs. And dude, I was just like, oh shit, this is serious. I could see why a lot of people wanted me to go over overhead press. And yeah, I think I will be implementing this in my workout program. How? I don't know yet. I just got done fixing it or like structuring it the way I like. So this is going to be interesting. But those are my thoughts on overhead press. And yeah, if you guys have any other video topics you want me to go over, let me know. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have a good night.